Hi everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of October and in particular the new moon that we have in Libra on the 12th and 13th, depending on where you live in the world. Now remember that we're still under the effects of the September eclipses, which were very powerful, and we'll still feel those influences, certainly for the next 6 months, until the next set of eclipses in March 2016. So watch for patterns where old things that no longer serve you, old ways of being, old habits that no longer serve you, may be falling away and new fresh energy is coming in to take you forwards. And of course that's very similar to the theme that we've had for over the last 3 years with the Uranus-Pluto square. That square is still operational, and in fact, since Pluto went direct again recently, that square is coming together again towards exactitude. And although it doesn't become absolutely exact again, it comes to within about a degree in late December and into January next year. And in astrology, the closer an aspect is, the more you expect its symbolism to manifest. So this evolutionary development that the Uranus-Pluto square has encouraged us in is going to continue and, if anything, increase through the next few months and into January 2016. On the 9th of this month, Mercury goes direct, and it's going direct in Libra, and in fact it's going to spend about 66 days in total in Libra. It's going to be in Libra all of this month. And there's been quite a focus on Libra as a sign and therefore the re-evaluation of relationships recently, because not only is Mercury spending a long time in that sign asking us to rethink, re-evaluate, go forwards again with relationship issues, but also at the recent total lunar eclipse we had the moon in Aries, but the sun was in Libra, and that the sun was conjunct the North Node in Libra. And remember, the North Node is our collective destiny. So we're really being asked to relate or think about relating in a new way, which perhaps is less about ego, less about our own needs, and more about love, which is all encompassing, more about really appreciating the oneness of all beings. Mercury also, from the 5th to the 15th of October, is going to be conjunct 2 degrees of Libra. So it's going to be conjunct the supergalactic center. Now, the supergalactic center is a vortex of incredible amounts of cosmic materials, energy, matter. Some people refer to it as the mind of God. They think of it as source. So with Mercury in that position, conjuncting the supergalactic center, we may be more easily able to access information from a higher source. So really watch for that from the 5th to the 15th of October. Also, Venus moves from Leo into Virgo on the 9th of October, the same day that Mercury goes direct. And in fact, Venus is going to be conjunct Mars the whole of October from that point. Now, that's a wonderful aspect of Venus-Mars conjunction. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit wide, but nevertheless it's operational all month. And just see where that falls for you. This is going to be in Virgo. They're both going to be moving quite quickly. So from the 9th of October, they're going to be both in Virgo, moving from about 0 degrees for Venus all the way through to 22 degrees. Now, if you know where that falls in your chart, those degrees of Virgo, you can get an idea where there might be perhaps a new romance. Does it fall in your 10th house? Are you going to meet a new person at work, perhaps? Does it fall in your 9th house? You might meet someone when you're traveling on a trip, or they might be foreign. Or you're going to have those degrees falling in your 7th house, which means a person that you meet, which turns into a romantic development, is actually going to be a very important long-term relationship for you. So these are all very helpful additional meanings to the general update that I'm giving here. So it really is helpful if you know where these aspects fall in your birth chart. I'm always encouraging you to do that. Also, all month we have a really, really positive aspect where we have Pluto in a very positive aspect, a trine to Jupiter. That's going to be the whole of October. And in addition to that, Mars joins Jupiter in conjunction from the 11th to the 24th. It's actually exact pretty much from the 15th to the 17th, if you want a really tight date on that. But what this aspect does is give great confidence. It makes you feel you can rise to the challenge. It makes you feel ambitious, that you really want to aim high and be very focused in what you're doing. And sometimes the way this operates is Pluto can manifest as a benefactor, someone who is powerful or wealthy, who can come out from the blue, come out from behind the scenes and actually help to push you forward to success with this. So what you need to do is to see where Jupiter and Mars fall in your chart, in those mid degrees of Virgo. And in fact, if you have any planets or angles in the mid degrees of the earth signs, which are Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn, you're going to particularly benefit from this. But see where those mid degrees of Virgo fall in your chart, because that's where Jupiter and Mars are going to be. Now, do they fall in your second house? Does that mean that there's going to be a real push towards some money coming in for you? They're going to be in your fifth house. There's a lot happening with your creativity. They're going to be in your 10th house. There's going to be something really wonderful that manifests in your career, promotion or salary increase, something like that. But it's a very focused, ambitious energy. So really, really use that well. Then we have our new moon at 19 degrees 20 of Libra, and that's happening on the 12th and 13th of October. It's happening on the 12th of October at 5:05 p.m. Pacific, and then on the 13th of October at 1:05 a.m. UK time. So this again is all about relationships. We're being asked again to look at those. There's such a strong theme over the last few weeks of wanting us to take a look at that and reevaluate how we operate. And it may not just be in the obvious romantic relationships, it may be in all relationships, friendships as well, and even relationships that we have with ourselves, in fact. So it's the whole gamut of relationship. But it's going to be quite an intense new moon, because at the new moon the sun and moon are always together. And at this new moon, the sun and the moon are opposing Uranus and squaring Pluto. So they are highlighting the Uranus-Pluto square yet again. So not only do we have that square moving more closely together, but this new moon is bringing it into prominence. It's highlighting it again. So we've become very familiar with the Uranus-Pluto symbolism over the last 3 and a bit years, that it's to do with intensity, unpredictability, it's an eruptive energy, it's sudden opportunities coming out of the blue. And if you have anything in the mid degrees of the cardinal signs, and they are Aries, Cancer, Libra or Capricorn, you might particularly feel this. You might either feel quite restless on the inside, that you want to initiate change, or change can quite suddenly come from the outside to give you another opportunity or change your circumstances in quite a sudden and radical way. So this is very much the Uranus-Pluto square, as always, is about our evolutionary development. And remember always that Uranus is the planet of awakening. So sensitive people can have some real revelations at this time of the new moon too, particularly because Mercury is on the supergalactic centre at the same time. So it's really a surprisingly powerful new moon. Now, a new moon is always a new beginning, and that new beginning can come as a thought, as an idea, as an email from someone, as a phone call, as a meeting with someone. So if you know where this new moon at 19 of Libra falls in your chart, again, that will give you additional meaning to what I'm saying here. So does it fall in your 11th house? Are you going to be joining some new groups or new social life in some way? does it fall in your 6th house? There's going to be some kind of a new beginning in your day-to-day work. Where does it fall, and what is that going to mean for you particularly? Also, at this new moon, Venus is square to Saturn. Now, again, that makes us evaluate relationships, because Venus is about love and Saturn is about who am I? My authenticity in this relationship. Is this an honest expression of myself, this relationship, or not? So this whole reevaluation of relationships is not only to help us to operate at a higher level from love and seeing the unity of all things, but it's also getting us to understand that we have to be authentic in every single relationship in which we operate. That's a big message, I think, running through this. Another very important aspect of this new moon, and we've already seen a little bit of it, and it's going to become quite an important aspect all through 2016, is the square between Saturn and Neptune. Now, I've written quite a lot about this recently in a mundane sense, because in a mundane global sense, Saturn represents boundaries and borders and territorial divisions. And it's in Sagittarius, which is about law and foreigners, foreign issues and belief systems, religions. And so this is very much about the migrant crisis. Now, Neptune in a square to Saturn, in its less positive expression, can be chaos. It can be confusion. It can be things not being as they seem. So as the world tries to make practical effort to define some laws and policies and regulations around this whole migrant issue to be of practical service to those desperate people who need so much help, Neptune may not always be helpful. It has a high vision, but sometimes the issue of laws and borders and promises may slip or dissolve in true Neptunian fashion. Things may just not be quite as they were intended or as they seem. So that's going to be quite a strong theme. So I think it could take a little while to truly sort those issues out in the world. But on a personal level, Saturn squaring Neptune can be really inspiring, because it's about making real the dream. Saturn making real, putting the effort in. Neptune is the dream. It's the highest vision we have of ourselves. So really focus on that. The eclipses in September were encouraging us to bravely and boldly set out on a new direction for ourselves. And this new moon in Libra and also the Saturn-Neptune square is very much encouraging us to really define that highest vision of ourselves. And this new moon in Libra is taking that step towards that vision, the person we really want to be in the world. So it has a very inspiring side to it. So if you don't know where all these aspects that I've mentioned in your chart fall, it really is helpful if you get a copy of your birth chart. You can easily find those free online. Just Google search free birth chart and you'll find several websites that do that. And then if you want to check out my tutorials, if you check the link appearing above me here or the same link below in the description, then you can buy a 2-part video series, and I'm really getting smashing feedback on these because it's helping people so much to get a much deeper meaning for themselves in their unique birth chart of how these patterns are unfolding in their lives. And it really becomes exciting because you're not just taking the general update, you're getting so much more out of every single update I ever do or any other astrologer does. So do take a look at that. And if you'd like more information about my book, my audiobook, or my free monthly newsletter, I send out about a 3,000-word newsletter each month, just check out my website, pamgregory.com or www.thenextstep.uk.com. And thanks for listening.